guys, welcome back to It's Good in the Woods. Look at that, Dad.
Oh, that's perfect. That's looking good.
It's coming out.
Hello guys and gals, welcome back to It's Good in the Woods. Thank you for joining me. Today we're doing a comparison video of two tent offerings from Lux Hiking Gear, the Megahorn 3 and the Octopeak. These are two pretty cool tents. I thoroughly enjoy both of them. I see a lot of chit chat from people on the internet about the differences between the two because they're considering buying one. If that's the situation you find yourself in, I made this video for you. So let's get into it. These are the two tents in their stuff sacks, next to two 32-ounce Nalgene bottles for reference. The Megahorn in green, the Octopeak in brown. The Megahorn comes in a large compression sack that has 3 buckles with adjustable straps and a very large opening. Inside is the tent, rain cap for the stove jack, adjustable pole, the peak cap, and 16 aluminum Y-stakes, for a total of 8.7 pounds. The Octopeak comes in a well-marked stuff sack. Inside is 8 stakes and the tent, with a total weight of 4.35 pounds. This tent does not come with a pole. Both of these tents are pitched in basically the same manner. You loosely lay them out, stake out the points, insert the pole, and adjust accordingly. The Megahorn has a hexagon-shaped base. It requires a minimum of 6 stakes to set up. The stake-up points are made from 1-inch webbing and they have plastic tension adjusters. The Octopeak has an octagon-shaped base, requiring a minimum of 8 stakes to pitch. The webbing on this tent is a 1/4 inch, and the tension adjusters are made of aluminum. The Megahorn has additional shot cord stakeout points at the midpoint of every panel. The Octopeak does not, but the tie-out points are there so you can install your own. Both of these tents have snow skirts, but the Megahorn has tie-out points so the skirts can be held back. The Octopeak does not. The Megahorn has 4 guy-out points. Each guy-out has 2 points of contact with the tent. Attached to these 2 points are the same piece of cordage that has a free-floating plastic ring on it. Attached to that ring is the cordage that runs to the stakeout point. It also has a line lock for easy adjustment. The Octopeak has little shot cord loops that attach to the tension clips at the stakeout points. However, on every panel seam, there are 2 loops where you can add your own cordage for guy-out points. Now that we have both of these tents pitched, let's talk about some of the obvious differences. One is the size. The Megahorn is a much bigger tent. But how much bigger? That's what people really want to know. The Megahorn has a peak height of 7 foot 2 inches and has approximately 108 square feet of floor space. The Octopeak has a peak height of 6 feet and approximately 75 square feet of floor space. Now with the combination of a 6-foot peak height, a smaller floor plan, and shallower angled walls, the Octopeak is a much smaller tent, which brings up an interesting point because Lux advertises the Octopeak as the bigger tent, 6-person versus 4. Now personally, I wouldn't want to share this tent with 3 adults, let alone 6. That would be tight. Even with 3, it's going to be tight, especially if there's a stove. Have fun with that. I can fit all 3 of our cots inside the Megahorn. We can only fit 2 of them inside the Octopeak, and the biggest one won't fit in there at all.
I like just listening to the birds sing.
Pretty nice, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Megahorn has 2 doors, and both of these doorways have independently working bug mesh screen doors. There are no screen doors on the Octopeak. Also worth noting is that the peak heights on these tents are a little bit misleading. The Megahorn has a 7 foot 2 inch peak height, and I'm 5 foot 7, and when I stand in there, my head is just barely touching the bug mesh. So if you're 6 foot tall, you're not just going to be standing straight up in this thing without your head touching, making contact with the tent. Now the Octopeak has a 6 foot peak height, and again, I can stand up in it, but anything over 5 foot 7 is pretty much unusable space. So you're not going to be standing upright at 6 feet tall in this one either. While we're talking about peak heights, let's talk about the differences between the peaks of these two tents. The Megahorn, quite obviously, has a removable cap. And that comes in pretty handy for several reasons. Ventilation and increased airflow. In the summertime, with the combination of the 2 doors and the removable cap, it's a much cooler tent than the Octopeak. Also, a stovepipe can be ran up the middle of the tent with the addition of an insulated pipe section. And at the peak of the Octopeak is a loop so that it can be pitched without a center pole. This particular version of the Octopeak is the winter version. It has 1 door and snow skirts. It also has a vent near the base to increase airflow. This vent has adjustable bug mesh as well. Lux also makes a 2-door version of this tent. So if you were to use this in the summertime in warmer weather, maybe that's an option that you'd rather go for, because the 2 doors will definitely increase your ventilation and make it a much cooler tent in warmer weather. I will pretty much primarily be using this tent in the wintertime, so I went the winter version, and I probably shouldn't. I really would have liked to have the 2 doors. I mean, who needs snow skirts anyway? There's also a vent above the door on the Octopeak that can be opened or closed. This vent has a bug mesh panel that runs all the way up to the peak of the tent. Now that we've gone over the basic details of the tents, let's talk about the materials that they're made out of. The Megahorn is made out of 68 denier polyester taffeta. It's polyurethane coated on one side, the seams are all taped from the factory, it has a tensile strength of 185, and a hydrostatic head of 1500 millimeters. The major drawback of this particular tent is that it is not made from a ripstop material. That's worthy of consideration. But that being said, I've never had any problems with it, not yet. And the Octopeak is made out of 40 denier ripstop sil nylon. It's polyurethane coated on one side, silicone coated on the other. It has a tensile strength of 260 and a hydrostatic head rating of 5,000 millimeters, and the seams are not taped from the factory, but they are folded over and reinforced. These are very similar tents, but for everything they have in common, they have some distinct differences, mainly size and weight. So for car camping, for campground camping, ATV camping, canoe camping, in situations where weight doesn't necessarily matter all that much, this is a great tent. The Megahorn will win every time. It's a much bigger tent, there's a lot more room, but it's a lot heavier. If I was car camping, I would take the Megahorn over the Octopeak, hands down, every time. However, if what you're looking for is a large teepee tent that has quite a bit of space and is light and packable, this is the winner. It's a bit smaller than the Megahorn, but it's about half the weight and it packs down much smaller. So that makes this a clear winner in situations where weight matters. These tents have reflective guy-out points and they both look awesome lit up at night. And another very distinctive difference between these two tents is this god-awful advertising right here. One of my buddies, Kevin, mentioned that on my review of this tent, and he's right. There's no need for this. I know what I bought. This is just ridiculous, and honestly, I can't stand it. It bothers me. There are no markings of any sort on the Octopeak. Both of these tents are stove compatible with the installation of the included stove jack. Alright folks, that's just about it. If you've been considering buying one of these two tents, I hope that this video helped you get a better understanding of what these tents are and which one is better for you. I have done a full, more in-depth review of the Megahorn. You can check that out right here, and I've got one on the Octopeak coming. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. My name is Justin, and I'll talk to you later. How are the s'mores?
The burnt part actually tastes better.
I agree.